the two fight up the ramp as the
fight for your right.
Fight up the ramp
To
gorilla.
Zeus.
So what? And Zeus is better than Andre the Giant,
in my opinion, yeah.
The Bushwhackers and Jimmy Snooker were all eating some.
Oh my god, you are super sweaty.
I'm not sweaty. The drumstick.
Will you just stop? Stop, will you stop? Just, you know.
Right, sorry.
Stop.
Sorry.
Right.
Well, he's gone now, so there'll be no more chicken bum.
Stop clucking around.
Hey, bum.
In today's episode, we're going to be covering the Bushwhackers, and we all know that Dom likes to lick my forehead during the Bushwhacker segment. So, I bought some lemons for today's episode. I'm just going to rub it right in, and he's going to get a nasty shock. Enjoy the episode.
Hello, and a very warm welcome back to the Gimme Wrestling Podcast. My name is Dom, and you are...
I am Ant. Can I just stop you there?
No!
I love your energy, but there was a guy on Facebook, Tony Hartung, who gave us a new introduction, potentially. And it's great. Did you see it?
Yes.
That's a no. His new introduction is hello.
Hello.
We'll see how that works. But thank you for that suggestion. It made me chuckle like hell. Today we're looking at.
Can we just? Hello was fine, but.
Go on.
Hello and welcome back to the Gimme Wrestling Podcast. My name is Dom, and you are
Ant.
And what are we doing today?
Today we're looking at Survivor Series.
That's
from
better.
1989.
That's better. Nice. Thanks for your suggestion, Tony. But mine's better. We appreciate all our audience feedback. But my stuff's probably better.
I quite like hello.
Well, hello, Tony.
Hello and welcome to the Give Me a Whole Year podcast. That works. Hello.
Okay.
Hello. Cool.
Hello. Okay, good.
So Survivor Series 1989, Rosemont Horizon, Chicago, Illinois.
Chicago!
Gorilla Monsoon and Jesse the Pilgrim Ventura. There he is with his... Obviously, Survivor Series happens on Thanksgiving, the American holiday. The Pilgrim... What happened in Thanksgiving?
Well, they eat chicken, don't they?
Well, yeah, I know they eat turkey, but...
I thought it was chicken.
Was it the end of the Civil War or something? No, it's turkey.
My whole life's been a lie. I actually did have a Thanksgiving in the US once. I'm pretty sure we ate chicken.
Man, I want a proper Thanksgiving.
Damn it.
So, yeah, he had his pilgrim hat on. Just comedy Ventura as well. In the next pay-per-view we do as well, he looked great, actually. But
comedy
we'll get
Ventura
to that
value.
in a bit. Yeah, there was, first of all, there was a promo from Hulk, and there was thanks for giving. Thanks for giving.
Receiving and giving.
Well, because Thanksgiving is all about being thankful, isn't it? So thank was...
And Hulk's all like vitamins, prayers,
well, he was
positivity.
thankful for everything, but especially his vitamins. Lots of wrestlers' promos saying what they were thankful for, mainly based on the gimmicks, as you can imagine. DiBiase, for example, was thankful for money.
I quite like the heel ones, they were pretty fun.
Yeah, Jake was thankful for Damien. Mr. Perfect was thankful for being perfect.
Yeah.
Which is,
standard Mr. Perfect promo through the years, that one, actually.
Yeah. And then Ultimate Warrior, I can't remember what he was thankful for.
Probably for the moon and the moon and the stars and his incredible pecs and
absolutely
and his incredible running ability.
God, he looked like he'd injected a load of steroids for this show. He looked pumped, man.
Man, you can't say anything. You inject steroids before every Gimme a Whole Year. Look at you. Look at those. Look at those bad boys there. Fucking feel them shit.
So then we had a rundown.
Damn it, that's 2 already.
I know, man.
Well, the first 10 minutes.
We weren't swearing this podcast, and there we go. That's stop there. Rundown of the entire match card, and it looked actually like they'd split the roster really nicely during this match card. Instead of having it all been waiting till the main event to say everything, there was no tag team Survivor Series match, which was my Thanksgiving thankfulness. Because I hate the tag team Survivor matches. And you had main event stars in like all of them, and I thought that was really well split. And
Nicely done.
Yeah.
This is one of my favourites, to be honest.
It was really good.
On the whole,
there was one match where the split didn't work for a reason, but we'll get to that when we get to that. If you haven't already, please hit that like button, comment down below, subscribe, and join us on Facebook, Twitter, Patreon. Join our community.
Yeah,
it'd be cool.
Do that because we like you.
And
we appreciate your support. And if you do, then we might take our clothes off again. Because we like to do that.
Why are you agreeing to this? I've not signed up to this.
Well, now you have. Now you have. We're a team. We have to do everything together.
The dream team.
Shower, do a podcast. Eat food.
And speaking of the dream team, that leads us nicely into the first match. Thank you. That was good. Which was Dusty Rhodes, Brutus Beefcake, the Red Rooster, and Tito Santana, known as the Dream Team.
Proper love the Rooster, man.
He was a good wrestler.
No, I'm getting more and more into it.
No.
Getting more and more into it.
And
there are worse gimmicks. Virgil.
There was against the Enforcers, Big Boss Man, Bad News Brown, Rick Martel.
Going full. Martel was full model.
Yeah, he was. Yeah,
full model.
Rick Martel and Honky Tonk Man with Gimme and Slick. So if you haven't seen the podcast before, we like to talk about wrestlers as we come to them. This is the first pay-per-view showing for a little-known wrestler known as Dusty Rhodes. So, Dom, would you like to tell us a little bit about Dusty Rhodes' history, please?
I would most definitely like to tell you a little bit of Dusty Rhodes' history. I'm just trying to find where I did it in my notes.
When he can find it on his phone.
I did. Was it Dusty? Was I supposed to do Dusty?
Yes.
Son of a bitch. Right, okay. Well, I'll wing it because I clearly have... maybe it's somewhere else, but in my notes, I can't find any Dusty history. But... The American Dream, Dusty Rhodes.
The plumber's son.
I've definitely done this before.
It's all right.
I've definitely done it. We've done Dusty Rhodes.
Have we?
Yes, definitely. I did it previously.
Yeah, I think you did it previously.
Yeah, I did it previously. Thank you.
Well done.
I'm supposed to do Earthquake.
There's not like putting him on the spot. Was I supposed to do Dusty Rhodes? Yes, you did. You did Dusty last week. Good job, Dom. Thanks for informing us of Dusty. So,
yellow spots on the tights, the American Dream, father of Gold Dust and Cody,
and son of a plumber.
Check the previous episode. That's not this one, where I am in fact doing Earthquake.
Yes, cool. So to the match. Sorry about that. Starts off with Tito and Honky.
Frantically scrolling down my notes. Going.
Find yourself. Starts off with Tito and Honky, two former Intercontinental champions in the ring there. Both who had great runs. Tito in the early 80s, 83 to 84 time.
Well, we agree to disagree on this. I think Tito is the Dolph Ziggler of this time.
Yeah, man.
The guy that should have been here that always ended up here. And then you got the Honky Tonk Man who's ridiculous, but he ended up here. And the rung, on the old rung of the WWF.
But I would say that Tito, although we've not really covered it in the pay-per-views, Tito had a massive influence in the early 80s, and I think wrestling wouldn't have been the same if it wasn't for Tito. So there we go, just my opinion.
What, in terms of his high flying ability, his ring savvy?
In terms of how wrestling became, so I don't think you would have had Macho as much if had it not been for Tito sort of breaking them waves early on, and especially with his Intercontinental run in 83, I think it was. So while Tito was stunned, Honky tags in Martel, so then we see Strikeforce into the ring. This has been a really nice story that's played out nicely through the pay-per-views of the breakup of Strikeforce. And the crowd liked it, and I really enjoyed it.
Yeah, it was good. It was good, solid.
I don't remember Strikeforce.
So I thought we do remember. We did cover Strikeforce.
No, we covered it, but from my past, I don't remember Strikeforce. But actually, I've really enjoyed rewatching them.
Yeah. Rick Martel shines here, and
he did.
Sadly, despite what we think, and I think we're big advocates for Tito on this podcast. But I think Rick Martel just shone throughout this whole.
Oh, he did. I don't think Tito ever reached the heights that he did.
But even this match, just the way that he came across, it was a bit like a Jannetty. You like the problem with guys like Jannetty and also Tito, incredible workers, but they haven't got the flair in the ring. You'd see Shawn Michaels even back at this point. Marty Jannetty, in my opinion, was the better wrestler. And so was Tito, the better wrestler. But then you'd see Rick Martel doing all this.
We missed the spark, the character
and
spark.
Michael's doing all this,
saying.
All this shit. And it's just like And, I'm honestly not trying to swear. But yeah, doing all this stuff. And it was great. And yeah, it's sad because I'm a massive fan. Fan. And I compare him to Ziggler. But Ziggler's got the flair.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know. I still don't know what he's missing. But anyway, carry
on. So then we had Dusty and Bossman enter the ring. People were hot for this. This was what people wanted to see.
I'm
this
hot
was
for
the
Dusty.
two captains.
I'm hot for Dusty.
They'd been feuding, and they had a great back and forth in the ring. It was really good. Red Rooster come into the ring and got beat up for a while.
Love him. Love it. I thought, he could sell. The Rooster.
The
Rooster.
No, he didn't work the gimmick. Oh, well, the gimmick was unworkable.
Shut up, man. He did all he could with a Rooster gimmick. What would you do?
No, you're right. He did all he could with a Rooster gimmick, but why not give him,
Rooster for me. Rooster for me right now. What are you going to do, huh? What are you going to do?
Rooster for me. I'm going to say, what...
Do it.
Right.
There you go. So the Red Rooster did that on national television in front of thousands of people. You're in front of your girlfriend, hi Sarah, and a couple of computers, and I don't know, nothing else. You can't even fucking do it.
Okay, but like I say, it was a crap gimmick, and he should have been given a better
but
gimmick.
in the match, he sold everything.
Yeah, but he looks rubbish when someone's going around the ring pecking. It looks rubbish, man. There's no...
But it sells. People probably bought Red Rooster merchandise. I would have probably paid.
I've been on the WWE store a little bit, and I've seen Macho Man.
Well, there's not going to be, but I mean, there's probably somewhere.
I've never seen a Red Rooster.
Well, I'm going to find some.
Find one. And we'll,
right, can you just, in fact, you just take over. I'm going to do this right now live on the Gimme a Whole Year Wrestling podcast because I am determined to find some. Here I am. I'm not trying to endorse Apple or anything. Carry on. Do your job.
All right. So Tito and Martel end up back in the ring. This was the story I was the most interested in all along. Tito had the advantage, but after a reversal of a pin, Martel pulls Tito pants to get the win, so Tito's out of there. Pants. It's sad, but they had a good little back and forth, and this feud carries on for a long time as well. So next up, what?
Suck it! There you go! A Red Rooster t-shirt, there you are.
Wow.
Look at that. It's there. You could buy it from Wrestle Crap.
You've really sold this t-shirt to everyone. So next up we had Dusty and Brutus.
Poultry in motion.
Poultry in motion, brilliant.
Poultry in motion. Brilliant.
So okay. Dusty and Brutus, can they defeat the bad guys? Cornflakes, I mean... Not Cornflakes, Terry Taylor. Cornflakes had a rooster. He was never going to do out, was he? In the ring. So Dusty had some great drop kicks for bloke size.
Yeah. Incredible performer. Like the Kevin Owens of the time.
Agreed. He was absolutely excellent.
But with 10 times more charisma.
Yeah.
Actually, no. Because Kevin Owens has shitloads of charisma.
Yeah, it's just it's centered in a different way with Kevin Owens, and Kevin Owens is great. Bad News walked away from the match a year ago, which the announcers did mention, and he didn't want to get in the ring tonight against KFC. I actually wrote this down as notes. Sorry, not KFC, the Red Rooster. And then Bossman accidentally... he was still tickled. And then Bossman accidentally punches Bad News when he's in the ring. So Bad News walks out of the match again, which is nice, a nice continuation if he's always going to walk out of his Survivor Series matches after having a feud with all of his team. Brutus takes out Honky with a high knee strike. It was a really bad idea.
Yeah, man. Well, I don't know why the hell he used that.
Well, it was hardly the King of Strong style, was it?
It pinned him, but it was like, oh, what the hell, man. That was a bit like an early 80s. That was like a beginning of the Gimme a Hull, crossbody finish.
It was bad. It was
like,
bad.
We have no idea why that even happened.
No.
Yeah.
And then there was a bit of a lull in the match, which was Martel and Brutus in the match together. Because you've got no story to these two, it was just a bit boring, really. Slow burner. That's what he was going to say. Martel tries to use the rope for leverage, but the ref spots and he reverses by Brutus, which leads to the model's pin. Big Boss Man pins the drumstick, not the drumstick.
The Red Rooster.
Red Rooster
With the Boss Man slam, which is killer. I love that. It's one of my favourite.
The drumstick.
Will you just stop? Will you stop? Just,
Right, sorry.
Stop.
Sorry. Fair enough. Well, he's gone now, so there'll be no more chicken buns.
Stop clucking around.
Hey, ba-dum-bum. So a crossbody.
Can we just celebrate briefly the Bossman Slam and how great that finishing move is?
It is a great finisher, and Bossman is amazing.
Yeah, and it was great in the 2000s when he came back, and it's great then.
Yep.
Bossman Slam, devastating. Abyss uses it in TNA, the Black Hole Slam. Really good.
Abyss is great.
Yep.
Cool.
Should have been in WWE.
Was going to be in WWE. He was going to be signed for a match against Undertaker. It was on a Wrestle Talk video. If you go watch YouTube, they did a really good video on it, where he was due to actually face Undertaker at WrestleMania instead of Batista. And it never actually happened because he wanted to stay with TNA because he'd been there since the start. Batista.
Okay. Good bit of knowledge there. Anyway,
there you go.
Right, okay, so yeah.
So then there's a crossbody from Dusty, which pins the Bossman.
Yeah, nice.
Yeah,
nice.
Good crossbody as well.
Best finishing of the night, in my opinion. That was great.
It was good to see him get the pin, and it was good. It worked storyline. I think whoever worked on this storyline wise did an amazing job, actually.
Yes.
Bossman then attacks Dusty with nightstick and handcuffs, and handcuffs him to the rope. Brutus brings in the scissors, threatens to stab at everyone.
Yeah.
Threatens to go on a massacre.
Every time I wince a little bit when he starts wheeling him around, and he's like,
Yeah, Dusty actually ended the match with a cut above the eye, which I'm not sure where that comes from. Probably with Bossman attacking him with a stick. But we had a face team win. We had Dusty's team win. Good match. Enjoyed it.
Solid.
Really, yeah. It was great. Great start to the match. Then we had an interview with the Bossman where he says he got what he deserves and stuff like that. He was still quite out of breath from the match, so I never like them promos when they're so out of breath.
Straight out.
Straight out. Just give him a bit of time. Give him a second.
Yeah.
And I'd also say this: wrestlers in them days seem to. I don't think they had the conditioning that the wrestlers have nowadays.
Yeah,
do they?
there's not the bloody. Well, it wasn't the bloody. The training centre, the performance centre.
No.
Nothing like that.
So then we had an interview with the 2Befores. Yeah.
Oh, that team name.
Team name.
Yeah.
It's all led by Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
I like the fact you worked really hard to say Duggan.
Yes.
I miss when you say Duggan now.
I know, man. It's like I'm learning wrestling as we go on. Hercules looked like he'd put on a bit of weight.
Man, I'm a huge fan of Hercules.
I'm not, but he looked bigger, but not in a good, bigger way. He looked like he put a lot of weight on the face, They always all pretending the 2Before were guns. Mm-hmm. I think Hacksaw Jim Duggan sort of led that 90s cartoon charge, and I wish it wasn't there, because Hacksaw was a talented wrestler to some extent. He was good in some matches.
He was more of a gimmick. He was his gimmick.
And that's the problem.
But he wasn't never going to be... Like, he came back, didn't he? We talked about Hacksaw. He came back in later years, and actually he was like a tag champion with like Eugene or something.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, he did all right.
Cool.
But like, so he obviously had the conditioning, but... Yeah, it was never showcased just how good he could be. If you saw it, then that's cool, but I never saw it.
I think there's moments where you see it, certainly, and I've watched some of his later stuff, and he's okay in the ring. Yeah, it's just a gimmick, and I just think it ruins things sometimes.
Yeah.
So we have the King's Court again, main eventer in the second match, Randy Savage the Canadian Earthquake, who is billed as Canadian Earthquake, later became just Earthquake, and that's his pay-per-view debut, so we'll talk about him in a second. Let me just read the match card. So Randy Savage, Canadian Earthquake, Dina Bravo, Greg Valentine with Jimmy Hart and Queen Sherry versus the 4x4s, Jim Duggan, Bret Hart, Ronnie Garvin and Hercules. Dom.
Yes, mate.
Tell me a bit about Dusty Rhodes.
No!
Tell me a bit about Earthquake, man.
I'm going to do Earthquake.
Inform me.
All right. I was going to do the Earthquake stomp. Did you know that kind of Earthquake stomp was a sumo stomp, right? Because the guy had a background. John Tenta started his career as a sumo wrestler. He was a sumo wrestler, and he had a pretty good run in Japan.
Right,
Problem
wow.
was he couldn't act when he started. He couldn't act the lifestyle and tattoos back in the day. He had a tiger tattoo on his arm, which he used to cover for matches. But you couldn't go any further up the rankings if you had tattoos. You'd have to get it lasered up. So he couldn't act the lifestyle.
Were they doing lasers in these days?
Well, he had to get it removed somehow. Skin graft. That was how they did it. Skin graft.
Oh,
yeah. So he quit the sumo lifestyle. And then left Japan, left Japan, because basically, apparently, if you've got a tattoo or you had a tattoo in those days, you were associated with gangsters.
Oh,
That's what he did not like. So he had a brief run doing some wrestling, tryouts, some wrestling matches in Japan. Joined the WWE, and this was his first pay-per-view performance.
Yes, it
with
was.
the WWE. He was pulled out of the crowd before this, and pulled out of the crowd a bit like they did Santino Marella's debut, where they were like, who's going to pick someone from the crowd to come and watch. I think it was Ultimate Warrior do some bench presses and something,
right?
Whatever. And then eventually, so Earthquake ended up doing the Earthquake splash, and kind of introducing himself that way. After this, he enjoyed some pretty good feuds with Hogan. Very brief. The best one,
great feud. I really enjoy Earthquake's.
Earthquake and Hogan was good. The best one though, and the most infamous, and I remember this from watching VHS tapes of wrestling when I first got into it, was when he had a feud with Jake the Snake.
He did,
and he infamously squashed Damien, and then the following week cooked Damien.
Oh wow!
And served snake burgers to Bobby the Brain Heenan and a bunch of other people.
Wrestling.
Part of a segment you probably found on YouTube. So yeah, kind of weird. Between 91 and 93, he was part of the Natural Disasters.
He was,
which was a big deal, of course. They're heavily featured in 2K games these days. I think they're in 2K18. After briefly feuding with Yokozuna in 94, which briefly referenced his sumo background, because obviously that was a huge thing for Yoko. He departed the WWE, and as many people at the time and around that era were doing, went to WCW, where he competed as Avalanche and later the Shark. Oddly enough, he had some decent feuds with Sting for the US title, and that was his most notable contribution to WCW, in my opinion, but it was unsuccessful against Sting, which is sad because he never really won any titles in his kind of mainstream wrestling time. 1995, he returned to the WWF as Golga, and part of the Oddities. Now, the Oddities was one of my favourite factions growing up, and it was surprising to me. I never actually knew that he was Golga. Yeah. So that's interesting. So that was with the Oddities, was with Kurgan, who was this massive, kind of like Carly-esque, big, unusually tall and big, just scary looking. Also, Insane Clown Posse. Yeah. And Luna Vachon, who was an incredible manager.
Yes, Luna Vachon.
Returned briefly in 2001 to do the Gimmick Battle Royal. Retired in 2004 because he had bladder cancer. He passed away in June of 2006.
Yep.
Very, very sad. One of the best big men in history, in my opinion.
Yeah, I think we'll be covering this Hogan feud in the next few sort of episodes, and it was really good. I wonder, do you think he would have done better without going into the tag team?
Yes.
I think that might have been what killed him. I respected them as a tag team, but I sort of wish it had never happened.
Yeah.
I think I would have loved, especially in that sort of 91 time.
He would have been dominant.
I would have loved to have seen him versus Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
I think they would have done really well together.
Yeah, they could have done amazing things.
Two unstoppable forces. And I'm not even saying Earthquake go over. I'm saying let's see them in a ring. And I think that they could have had a whole program together. But unfortunately, that never happened. They did fight in matches, but not a proper program.
Yeah.
And
I think Hogan dominated he won a lot of them, didn't he? He was.
Yeah. So his wrestling attire in this match is slightly different to his what we'd know as Earthquake, with a sort of rumble Earthquake.
And the blue.
Yeah. At the minute, he's still wearing a very pale blue swimming cozy.
Yeah.
And a Canadian flag on it, so they were still making him a heel by being from Canada.
Yeah.
As opposed to being a heel because he's a natural disaster. So on to the match. We had a nice lift over the head from Hercules to Macho straight from the start.
That was nice.
I wish they would have used Hercules a little bit more like that. And what the nice thing about this was that he really held him there. It wasn't just like, sometimes Warrior would hold someone up and it'd be, throw. Hercules really suspended that weight for quite a while. Yeah. And there was a couple of moves in this match, and I enjoyed Hercules more in this match for that.
Because he is brilliant.
He was.
He's great.
His gimmick was a bit naff.
Well, yeah.
Is the issue, really. There was a nice atomic drop from Hercules to Hammer, again, holding him up there sort of for a while, and that's impressive.
Yeah.
That takes real strength. They should have always used him like that, I think.
Yeah.
Ronnie Garvin gets in against Greg the Hammer, and the crowd were enjoying this feud. I really enjoyed this feud. I don't remember Ronnie Garvin whatsoever, but watching it back...
You made a comment. You really enjoyed it and enjoyed Garvin, yeah?
Yeah, well, he's also in the next pay-per-view. They used to have a blow-off. But yeah, these two really enjoy the feud. The crowd seemed like they really enjoyed the feud, sorry.
I think there was a lot of effort put into it for them both.
I think there was, it was more effort than you'd seen from Greg for a while.
But I mean, also from the back end, from the management perspective, they'd given them a lot of airtime.
They did
more than Garvin, arguably, I think ever got really again.
Yep.
And it was really good to see him. I'm not entirely sure he excelled with the time, but certainly Greg did well. I think Greg came out really well.
I think he could. I think he should have done. I don't know exactly what happened there. Maybe that's something we can research before we do the next episode. But he was good against Greg the Hammer, and his promos in the last pay-per-view where he was insulting him as he was coming out because he'd lost his leg.
That was good.
This is sort of a year-long feud that's playing out over these pay-per-views, and it was very good. Earthquake gets a tag next, and after a little bit of jumping in the ring, which was his Earthquake. It was the prelude to his Earthquake stomp, really, wasn't it? He gets his finisher on Hercules and gets a pin straight away. So here's the new guy getting a pin on an established star straight away. And Earthquake felt like a big deal at this point.
Powerhouse.
His finisher, the Earthquake stomp, was a man sitting on your face.
Well, I think he did the run-up, right?
He did the run, yeah. And then he sat on your face.
It was kind of upper chest.
Okay,
It's a bit like the bonsai drop. It's a bit like the bonsai drop. I mean, it's basically you getting someone's nads and a bit of the gooch.
It was very much nads and gooch in Hercules' face.
But I mean, if you're getting paid, if someone wanted to pay me a couple of grand a match
to teabag you,
or even $500, if you were gonna, if you wanted to Earthquake splash me for $500, gooch and balls, I'd fucking do that shit.
Very good.
Would you take my gooch and balls?
No
for
chance.
$500?
No, not for $500.
What about a grand?
No, keep going up. What are we talking about? What, in a cosy? Yeah, I'll do it for a grand.
Right, okay. So Earthquake splash. You would take me, Earthquake splashing you, balls and gooch for a grand.
Yeah, fine.
Okay, well, fine. Yeah, well, there you go. When we eventually, in about 20 billion years, get up to date.
They should never have called it the Earthquake Stomp. They should have just called it the Teabag.
Teabag. I don't think that was a term, but it was probably always been
No, it probably wasn't a term back then, before Call of Duty was a thing.
Is that where it's from?
I think so. It's a gaming reference, isn't it?
There you go.
Probably not Call of Duty. It's probably from before Call of Duty. But it's a teabag is where you crouch on someone. Cause you all right there, dear? don't drink while I'm telling funnies. I'm just trying to give you the history of the teabag here. This is a historical podcast, all right? We'll carry on. So Earthquake misses a big elbow drop on Hacksaw. That was a lot of the story that involved Earthquake, and it was all about using Earthquake's momentum against him. They'd do it a lot, especially when it was Typhoon and Earthquake. They'd try and use their own momentum against each other and stuff like that. Yeah. But good again. Good. It looked heavy. It looked like it was going to hit, and Hacksaw did a good job of moving out of the way. Ronnie Garvin does localised shots on Dino Bravo. So what is that move? Because it's a Randy Orton move that he does nowadays. Do you know where he's sort of...
Yeah, I can't remember what it's called. I think they call it the six step or something like that.
And did he get that from Ronnie Garvin? Because Ronnie Garvin did that.
Must have done.
Just like that, yeah.
Must have done.
And it's only Randy Orton that does it.
He was a very safe wrestler, was Ronnie Garvin, and Randy Orton is well documented for being safe and using very safe moves. And that is it looks pretty devastating, but it
looks all right. Yeah, yeah. And when no one else is using it, it stands out, and that's, I think, sometimes the important thing with moves. Then we had Bret Hart versus Macho Man. Good, interesting.
Prelude to Bret's ever increasing greatness.
Yeah, Bret Hart versus Macho Man. What do the crowd start chanting? USA, USA, Where was Bret Hart from? Canada. He wasn't from USA, was he? Yeah.
I know what I was doing. I thought I was having like a moment with my microphone.
Okay, man.
Just getting real close, and I just thought I'd say Canada.
Very good. We'll make sure they can hear you when you're speaking. Really nice side suplex from Dina Bravo on Ronnie Garvin, who gets a pin and say something.
Canada.
Okay. Macho Man and Bret again built up a lot of tension between the two. Bret was becoming a bigger and bigger star. Macho was already a well-established star. Some nice moments, like Macho missing a standing elbow drop. Really quick movement from Bret to get out of the way.
No teabagging here.
No teabagging here, no. And he took an incredible boot from the corner from Bret Hart. Macho. He looked like he just went straight out.
Yeah.
And then a fresh Hacksaw eventually gets the tag, and he's versus the weakened Macho. So starts getting the advantage onto him. Then it's back to Hart again, and Hart did a lot of the legwork in the match. Macho eventually got the pin with the elbow drop, but Hart did a lot of the work, especially when it comes to him and Hacksaw.
It was a great showing from the two.
So then we had three heels versus Hacksaw Jim Duggan.
Yeah.
Hacksaw had a strong showing. There was a really good point early on.
It was good as it could have been, I think. Until Sherry got involved.
The first part was really good. Like he basically went from man to man and did a move on them and cleared the ring so he could do his whole thumb thing. But it was actually really well done. He was very quick at going from each person and knew everyone was in the place, and that's work on all wrestlers. It's not just work from one wrestler, which was good. So then Sherry pulls down the top rope for Hacksaw to go over. Hacksaw gets counted out. Yeah, I think the better ending for the match would have been for Earthquake to pin.
Yep.
It would have helped get him over even more to have destroyed the USA heel team. Yeah, like the last match, and this was one problem I had with the pay-per-view. Hacksaw gets his 2 before and clears the ring.
2 before.
We've seen it. We've just seen it with Brutus.
Yeah.
But not even... Yeah, it always happens, but we've just seen Brutus do it with his
It's a crowd pop thing. It's like, he goes in with his 2 before, and he starts starts hitting everybody.
But we've seen it.
Well, I know. But there's people like that, though, man. People like the mindless violence.
Spoiler alert, it happens again. It's just too much for me in too fast a time. Then we have an interview with Gorilla. where he's saying Dusty is seeing the No, it wasn't with Gorilla. No, it was with what's his name now? Gene Oakland. Thank you. Yeah. An interview with Gene Oakland where he was saying that Dusty's been seen by the Doctors, which obviously was building their feud a little bit more, his and Bossman's feud. The Genius is in the middle of the ring. It's not the first time we've seen the Genius. We saw him in the last pay-per-view, but we didn't cover him. So I'm going to give a few details about the Genius. The poem itself was a bit pointless. I had issues with the Genius's poems. I don't think... The gimmick they were trying to do was like Elias Sampson or Aiden English. I don't think it worked as well as them guys. And maybe that's just development over time. But Elias does brilliant. I love it when Elias is in the ring. I'm looking
forward to it. One of the first matches we do next week, and I'm going to play as Elias.
Oh yeah.
Oh, he's not into the DLC, is he?
He's not into the DLC, man. You were waiting for a while.
I want to walk with Elias.
So the Genius was the younger brother of Macho Man Randy Savage.
Yes. Lanny Poffo, right? Lanny. Is that his name?
We did cover him. It was Larry Poffer.
Oh, Larry.
Yeah. He wrestled in the WWF from 1985. So from the beginning of when we've done these series. And he was wrestling as Leaping Larry Poffer. And he'd bring Frisbee to the rings and he'd read a poem and throw out the Frisbees to the crowd. It was a weird gimmick.
Wow.
Yeah. Eventually that turned into the Genius.
Didn't take off.
No. Well, he wasn't a jobber as such because he would lose high-profile matches, obviously, and he was working the house show circuits as well, probably touring with his brother, you know. But he wouldn't necessarily be face or heel. It depended who he was fighting. So he was very much a person that the poem would either be bigging up the face, or when he was a heel, it was the other way around. So I get how the gimmick could work with that, actually. It could be twisted both ways. Yeah. And for someone like that in that time.
I mean, like I say, they were trying to do something that they've tried to do better since. You know what I mean? Like, again, Elias is a good example. It's a gimmick that didn't work then because it was just... They didn't really think it through, you know, and they've had enough time, decades and decades later, to kind of not perfect it, but certainly do it well.
Well, one of the other...
It's the right balance between antagonising and, you know, annoying, but also relevant. Like, everyone knows a guy like the Drifter.
I think the Drifter... The clever thing about the Drifter is I think he could turn it face. Yeah. Just with a slight... It's a bit like Chris Jericho. Do you know how Chris Jericho can be face or heel
you could start him coming out. You could start the Drifter coming out and interrupting like heels with playing guitar.
Exactly. Yeah. Exactly.
And everyone all of a sudden loves
Elias Sampson. Yeah. His fighting style probably held him back a little bit. He was a slightly smaller guy and he had quite an aerial style. But this is in a time, not necessarily now, but in the 1985, 1986, it was more about the big man as opposed to... And his brother Macho, although he did have an aerial style, he was also a big dude as well. He had some good muscles.
He was built.
He was built. That's the word. Yeah. So there was a battle royale. I think this was 87ish, and it was a TV taping. Andre the Giant was in the battle royale, and he headbutted Larry Poffer, and he split his nose and had to have stitches. Blood everywhere apparently, and this is in an age where we don't see that as much. And then he was employed by WCW for quite a few years. Do you remember his run with WCW?
I know he was employed by WCW because they made quite a big deal out of it, but I don't think it made that much of a big impact.
Okay.
Right?
He was there for quite a while. Yeah. I think it was due to
They made a big deal out of it, but I don't think he ever made that kind of... Yeah.
Randy Savage he'd brought him in, he'd contacted him and said... And he was the person that accepted Randy Savage's Hall of Fame in 2015 induction.
That's true, yeah.
So, the next match. This is a weird one. Third match on the card, and we have Hulk Hogan. And it
Hulkamaniacs.
Works. And it works, man. I don't want to see the same main eventers all the time. Yeah, I'm quite happy to see Hulk Hogan.
We see a lot of the same this time, particularly, and to a degree to this day, but less so than now. Just the same people inhabiting the main events. You know?
Yeah. So the Hulkamaniacs, Hulk Hogan, Jake Roberts, Demolition, Axe and Smash.
What a team, though.
Yeah, good team, man. Versus the $1 million team, which was Ted DiBiase, the Powers of Pain,
Jake's in this too.
Warlord and Barbarian, and Zeus. I did say Jake.
Did you?
With our lad Virgil.
Our lad Virgil.
And
All
Mr.
right,
Fuji. Bang kettle on Virgil. No entrances for the heels. I thought that was a bit sad because I think DiBiase's money and walking down to the ring really builds it up, man.
I also love the music.
Yeah, it's great music, man. Everybody's got a price. I don't know the rest of the words, sorry. So that was sad because I think his music worked with his gimmick. It worked to establish him. Yeah, Hulk Hogan, this low on the card. Yes, it worked. It was good, Hogan. You didn't have to be the main event all the time. Like I said earlier, this card was so good because the talent. In the last match, we had Macho Man. In the first match, we had Dusty Rhodes and Boss Man. You had great talent all the way through this card, and that's what made it work well.
It was good.
So Jake gets Damien out at the start of the match.
He gets his snake out.
He was constantly slapping the snake's head. What was that all about? I don't know if he was trying to wake it up or something, but it just looked a bit like animal cruelty.
Yes.
If you know why he was doing that, please let us know.
Probably,
It's probably a reason. It's probably to wake him up
or calm him. I don't know.
Maybe it is to calm him down. Yeah, I don't know.
I know that through the stories you see on the WWE Network, there was a lot of problems with that snake.
I can imagine.
He used to bite Jake quite a bit.
Yes, it was. It was a snake. It's a wild animal. So Zeus is in this match.
I love Zeus, but not here.
Right, yeah. Zeus wants Hogan. Is that because he was the only one he was comfortable working with?
I'm doing my Zeus impression.
Yeah, go on.
The weird.
Can you do his eyes?
That's actually kind of cruel though, because obviously he was blind in one eye.
Sorry.
It's weird though. It was a weird look.
It was a look. I don't have a problem with the look. I have a problem with the gimmick and the whole no selling and the fact that you want a wrestler.
The Z in the side.
I don't even care about the Z. It's the fact that he couldn't wrestle that I had a problem
You can't
with.
wrestle.
Well, no, I can't. I could probably do better than Zeus. So. No, maybe.
What would your finish be?
Ooh, what would my finisher be? You put me on the spot, man.
I'll let you think about it.
I'd love it to be because I love a tombstone.
What would your finisher be? What would your finisher be? People.
I'm loving the elbow more and more.
What, the flying elbow?
Yeah.
Oh man, every time.
You're gonna say it. You're gonna say Velveteen Dream again, aren't you?
Oh yeah, man, it's so good.
Yeah, it is good.
Have you seen it?
Yes, I have seen it.
Did you see it?
Yes,
recently?
I watched it after last episode, and the episode before when you mentioned it.
It's so good, right?
It's good, man. It's good.
I love the Velveteen Dream.
Yeah, he's great. He's been great.
New
for
Gold
years,
Dust. I'm gonna love that gimmick as it develops.
Yeah, it'll be good.
Anyway,
so Zeus is in the ring with Hogan, underselling Hogan. I mean, is there any need? Hogan rakes his eyes, and that's obviously his weak spot. Slams him, but he stands straight back up.
Yep.
Underselling a slam. I mean, when you think about it,
but it's Zeus, though. He's supposed to be all powerful.
It was Andre the Giant in WrestleMania 3, the slam that was heard around the world.
But this is Zeus, mate. Zeus.
Yeah, so what? And Zeus is better than Andre the Giant,
in my opinion. Yeah. I prefer Zeus
to Andre.
Yep.
What, even his earlier work?
No, not the the legacy, of course not. But in terms of his overall impact, impact in a brief period, like you feared Zeus.
No, I
Andre
didn't.
the Giant just looked like he wanted to cuddle.
Yeah,
I mean, you wouldn't have cuddled him because obviously he smelt quite bad apparently. But like Zeus, I would poop myself.
Would you?
If I saw Zeus.
So Zeus does a move. He's sort of choking Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, doing the
grabs his. It's on the floor. Grabs his head. Does a move like he's going to break it.
Yeah.
Just felt out of place in a wrestling match, really. Then the ref tries to stop Zeus from choking Hogan, and after a 5 count from the ref, he needs to start breaking Zeus's neck himself.
Yeah.
The ref was on Zeus's neck. It was a bit over the top, really. Zeus pushes him away and obviously gets disqualified. Yeah. I mean, I was glad that it was sort of over quickly because I didn't want to see it any more of that.
Yeah.
You know, let's see some wrestling. We've got people in here like Hulk, Ted DiBiase. You know, let's see some goddamn wrestling, not that rubbish.
Or power moves. Or
So Hulk is out of it completely. DiBiase takes advantage of Hulk while he's in the ring before Jake gets the pin. Ends up on ringside with DiBiase taking a bump into the turnbuckle post.
Interesting. And then it kind of gets capitalised on a little bit.
Yeah.
Okay.
We get to see Axe and Smash beat DiBiase for a while.
Mm-hmm.
It was good. DiBiase was always good, always a good seller. We've talked about this a lot. Really underrated, in my opinion. And Matthew Kelly did most of the work in the ring. He does look like Matthew Kelly, doesn't he?
I didn't think about it till then. I'm never gonna look at him the same way again.
You know when Matthew Kelly in the 80s, Matthew Kelly was the host of Stars in Your Eyes. I was always like, man, it's Matthew Kelly wrestling. Anyway, so then we see the future main eventer outside of the ring. Who did we see? This is the first time I've noticed him.
What?
A future main eventer outside the ring, not in the ring, not wrestling. Shane O'Mac was there.
Just the referee.
Yeah, man.
I was going to say Virgil. What the fuck?
What, main eventer Virgil? No.
But I think he had a brief run.
Not main eventer. It was opening matches.
$1 million title.
It was, yes.
You're right.
Shane O'Mac was there, man.
We saw it. Yep.
Yeah.
I didn't notice it before. I didn't notice it.
I remember noticing him in what's the Survivor Series where Undertaker debuts? It's in is it 91? Was it? I remember noticing him then and thinking, oh, this is the first time. You know, these two are future main eventers, and he was pushing him off and stuff. But yeah, no, it was great. There's Shane O'Mac as a little bit of a factoid, and he appears quite a lot.
Money.
Here comes the money, 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 money. Dollar. So the Warlord pins Axe. The crowd didn't respond to it whatsoever. Nope. Jake comes in. What do the crowd start chanting when Jake comes in? Do 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 do. A lot of quick tags from the faces at this point. Yeah, it's great, man. The Barbarian gets a running tag on DiBiase and gets a quick pin on Smash. Mm-hmm. So I think that was my biggest gripe with this match. I sort of wanted, and a few of the matches actually, I wanted to see him get rid of the tag teams. Because the match got more interesting once they got rid of the tag teams. Jake the Snakes gets punished in the ring, building up to the Hogan tag. Mm-hmm. After that happens, there's a really rubbish top rope dive from the Barbarian, which.
That was silly.
It looked like it was nowhere near Jake, and his head like rammed the canvas. It was almost like he just jumped off the rope and just slammed his head into the canvas. It was weird. Powers of Pain do a spike pile driver. I love a spike pile driver. It looks like a pile driver is ferocious, not just a spike pile. But then they get disqualified for double teaming.
Yeah.
I mean, why?
When's that happened before?
I know. It's like, yeah. So, I mean,
WTF?
Fair enough, they're out. So
fair enough. They're just gone.
We've got DiBiase, $1 Million Man, Hogan. That's fine. Let's see them at them. That's it. DiBiase slaps on the $1 Million Dream onto Hogan. It was a perfect finisher actually for Hogan to work against because he could then get his whole comeback thing and. The $1 Million Dream was sold as a devastating submission. It ended up with Jake interfering though, as opposed to the comeback, which I thought was a bit of a shame. It would have been nice to have seen. Well, Hogan's comeback always bores me, but if you're going to do it then.
Yeah, totally.
You know?
No, you're right.
Jake comes in fresh and dominates DiBiase for a while before calling for a DDT. Then we have Virgil come out. Virgil comes out, distracts Jake a little bit. So Jake pulls him into the ring and DDTs Virgil instead. So the crowd get to see a DDT. The problem is you can't give a DDT to DiBiase and not pin him. So that's the whole reason for Virgil getting it. Understand that? As soon as he does the DDT, $1 Million Man straight away drops the elbow on Jake and he pins Jake with his feet on the rope. Really nice little segment. Both of them were great workers.
Yeah.
Great
Very
workers.
nice. And those matches, legendary.
Yeah.
Jake Snake was smooth on them.
Hogan was still hurt from the Powers of Pain Spiker Pile Driver, so good selling, I suppose, Hogan. And then he gets his comeback with a double clothesline. It looked great as it took both men down.
Yeah. Hogan looks better than he normally does here, in my opinion.
Yeah.
Fresher.
Ref started a 10 count at this point as well. Hogan ends up getting the win with a leg drop as a surprise ending to the match. I didn't see this one coming. Hogan won with a leg drop.
Yeah.
Didn't expect it at all.
Real challenging stuff.
Good. It was a good match,
which I've never said on this podcast about a Hogan match.
Yeah, and maybe that's why it's good, because it's not the main event.
We don't.
There's some really nice storylines in there. It was just a predictable ending that let it down, really. What I don't get is Hogan was the heavyweight champion at the time.
Mm-hmm.
If you put Hogan in a Survivor Series match, he doesn't have to win.
Yep.
The belt's not on the line. Give DiBiase the win. Build up a feud.
Yeah.
If the belt's not on the line, this is the point where Hogan loses.
Yes.
So a bit disappointing in terms of that, but hey ho. Next up, we had an interview with Zeus and Matchos, who was selling the No Holds Bar pay-per-view. That's not actually on the WWF network or WWE network. It's probably because of movie licensing rights, I would imagine. But there was in the December of that year, there was a pay-per-view called the No Holds Barred. I believe in terms of how it was shown on TV, they showed the movie first and then went into the pay-per-view. A tie-in pay-per-view, if you like, because there was in a steel cage match.
Yeah, they had a series of those, actually.
Did they?
Yeah, Hogan and Zeus and Hogan and Savage at the time.
Right.
And they kind of mixed the two up.
So they had it was an upcoming stage match. Hogan, Savage, Brutus, and Zeus. Guess who won the match? Yeah, I mean, probably I hadn't seen it, but probably with a leg drop.
Yeah, it happens with the leg drop.
Yeah.
Or I think Hogan escapes a couple of times.
Right.
It does happen.
Hogan and Brutus promo about the exact same thing. Then we had an interesting part where Sherry comes in from the back and interrupts, has some flour. I'm guessing it's flour. Maybe it was just some cocaine that laid around.
Well, she was pretty wild. So.
She was pretty wild. Throws the cocaine or anthrax over Hulk and Brutus, who can't see anything, and Zeus and Macho come in and start attacking. So just building up to this match in December, which we don't get to cover, unfortunately, because it's not on the network. Then we have an interview with a Rude Brood. So this is Rick Rude's team from the next match.
That was a nice team name.
It
was my favourite.
It was. The Brood was in the wrestling. Yes. The original Brood.
The original Brood.
It wasn't Christian, Edge and Gangrel.
Without the vampire.
Yeah.
And the frilly shirts and the blood spitting, which I love the Brood, man.
I like the Brood. I'm a big fan of the Brood, yeah.
Yeah, in about 15 years we'll probably get to the Brood.
No, it won't be that long. There was 97, 98. Gangrel. Yeah.
True.
I've actually worked with Gangrel.
Really?
Yeah, I did the lighting for him at a show.
What, here?
In Hull, yeah. Yeah, he comes to Hull quite often. He comes with one of the
he does
events at City Hall
as well.
He did do a porno.
Yeah, I think he does know he does porn. He directs his own.
Does
porn.
Does he still do it?
Fanging and banging apparently.
Nice.
You
should so interview him for his Theme magazine
when he comes over.
We'll do an interview with him. That'd be
cool. Wait. Is he a nice person?
Yes.
Good. Did you talk to him about wrestling?
No.
Oh.
No, I just do the lighting for the show.
Yeah, that's cool.
So Rick Rude's tights look great tonight. Really good design. I've always liked Rick Rude's tights.
Yeah. I think we should get you some tights.
I know, man. I want some tights.
I think you think you're kind of Rick Rude a little bit.
I want to be.
I obviously like his spirit. I think his spirit is inside you. For these podcasts. I feel like you need some Rick Rude tights.
So Rick Rude's tights tonight had, if you do it, I love the ones with Ultimate Warrior. Just saying. So Rude's tight have the 4 of his team on the front of them, and the Rowdies. What would they call them? Rowdies.
Roddies. Yeah.
On the back of his tights, all in headstones, like a graveyard. Can we give props to that wardrobe team?
I mean, yeah, but
that was awesome.
Yeah, the money they must have put into Rick Rude.
I don't even know how they did. I'm guessing they just got a pair of tights and painted it because they only had to last one night.
You got to be spray painted.
Is it spray paint? No, because they don't look spray paint. Maybe they are. I don't know, man.
I know.
Secrets of wrestling.
There you go.
How Rick Rude's tights were made. The real secrets.
Tell us everything.
Then we see Roddies Rowdies.
Roddies.
The Bushwhackers and Jimmy Snuka were all eating some...
Oh my god, you are super sweaty.
I'm not sweaty.
Tastes like
What's
vinegar.
It taste like?
It's like vinegar.
Vinegar? No, it's not vinegar. But I knew you was going to lick my forehead. So before we actually did the video, I squeezed a load of lemon onto my forehead and actually recorded it. So that's going at the start. How's your tongue feel right now?
Well, now I know it's lemon. I feel all right. Like I was like, yeah.
Oh, good one. Yeah, I pre-prepped that with Sarah. She was like, "Here's some lemon." Put it on. So Roddies Rowdies. No, I'll talk for a while your tongue's all out of. When you tasted it, what did you think? Oh, I'll carry on.
It's really sweaty. It's salty and weird and like
it's lemon. It's lemon. I just thought I'd give you a nice refreshing taste. I'm gonna find out. So I'm gonna because Dom hates cheese. Next time I'm rubbing my forehead with the dairy.
God damn it.
Excuse me. So Bushwhackers and Jimmy Snuka were feasting on some chicken. I think this potentially has to be the most mental team we've ever seen, which has no reason to be together. But I quite like the team. It was a neat idea. I felt a little sorry for Superfly because he seemed like more of a
more like he was
serious wrestler than the rest of them. But that, anyway, I was eating chicken.
Fun little gathering.
Although they weren't eating turkey, did you notice that? So maybe it's a
there you go.
Maybe it's a
there
thing.
You go. I was right, you were wrong.
Probably. So the next match was the Rude Brood, which was Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, and the Fabulous Rougeurs, with the Genius and Jimmy Hart versus Roddies Rowdies, which was Roddy Piper, Jimmy Snuka, and the Bushwhackers. Every person or every team got their entrance music in this match. They made a big deal of it. Roddy Piper being back in the WWF was a big deal.
Yeah, he was main event caliber.
Absolutely,
point.
And this is what I mean. We've got main event people. Like in a match, we've got Roddy Piper, we've got Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect, Jimmy Snuka, who was in WrestleMania 1's main event. You know, really well spread out card.
Yeah,
everyone got their entrance music. Mr. Perfect starts off against Luke, gets the tag to Butch, and they all start biting Perfect.
I'm not going to do that.
You're not going to do what? Bite me.
I'm going to bite you.
Bite me.
They did.
Eat my shorts.
They did that. Bushwhackers used to like...
Bite people?
Yeah.
Yeah. To me, it's a bit boring, but hey ho. Yeah. Jimmy Snuka. I'm going to move off my notes so you can't read them. Jimmy Snuka, modern day equivalent.
What? Oh, right. Oh, you want me to... Oh, that's easy.
Go on.
Actually, it's less easy. Hang on.
I've got a good one, that's all.
All right. Wait. Okay, CM Punk. Is one. Yeah, in terms of his abilities. In terms of the gimmick.
Yeah, the gimmick and skills, I suppose, as well.
The gimmick.
In WWE these days.
Now?
Yeah. I'll give you a clue.
Don't you give me a clue.
Go on, you can give your answer. I'll let you think about it. I'll come back to you.
All right.
So Superfly looked better in this match than he did in the last one. We obviously saw his return at WrestleMania 5. SummerSlam 89. He looks a lot better here. He actually made the backwards leapfrog, so the leapfrog that he attempted with Ted DiBiase, and it fell really awkward in the last pay-per-view. He did it and it looked really great, and his body looked absolutely fantastic as well. It looked like he'd been working out, probably off the drugs.
Yeah, I think he was off the drugs at this point.
Off the drugs.
For a brief period.
Yeah. Superfly splash onto one of the Rougeurs for a pin. As Perfect has been Iris ripped into the ropes, Rude is using the ropes to get up, ends up with Perfect out of the ring. A really nice timed moment. Both of them brilliant wrestlers. Piper pins a second Rougeau brothers. To be honest, this one was what I was saying before. I really wanted to get rid of the tag teams because there was some real talent. Jimmy Snuka, Roddy Piper, Rick Rude, Mr. Perfect. Let's see that match. Let's get rid of the tag teams. Perfect and Roddy in the ring, and they had some really nice moments together. Both good workers in their own right. Yeah. Looks like they were grappled up. Yeah, this was interesting. So they were grappled up, and they was trying to get to each other's corners, like by pushing through the other person. That's not something you see very often. But actually, I thought, why not? That's actually a good idea.
Interesting enough, yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, didn't happen. Perfect and Roddy in the ring. I've already said that, haven't I? Yeah.
I still haven't thought of one.
And yeah, we've got to the end of the match. After Butch celebrates biting Perfect's bum, which is I've bit his bum. Perfect gets the roll up for the pin straight away, so getting rid of some of them. Superfly again looks great in the match. His character work was really there. I'm not going to do an example of his character work because it'd give away the wrestler that you're trying to think of.
I'm really struggling.
Cool, man. I'll give you a clue. Do you want a clue? Think 205 Live. A really nice Rude awakening from Rude against Luke. Rude gets the pin at this point. And then, like I say, we have a match now.
Tony Nese?
I mean, it could be. Superfly's going around the ring going, ho, 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 ho.
Akira Tozawa.
Akira Tozawa.
Not really.
No, you don't agree?
No.
Akira Tozawa's great in the ring. Flyer. Does the like a creaky bed. Oh man, dream match. Akira Tozawa versus Superfly Snuka.
Yes.
Write it down, man. That's happening. Don't actually write it down. Just mentally write it down.
You're gonna be Superfly. I'll be Tozawa.
It's fine. I'll have to download a Superfly. Cool.
He's not on the game.
Nope.
Oh,
he's a murderer.
Yeah,
or not, or whatever. So now we have a match. All the tag teams are gone. 4 amazing wrestlers in the ring at this point. A really nice looking drop kick from Perfect. Perfect was great. He could get some great height on the kicks as well, which really impressive. Followed by a terrific super kick from Gimme the Superfly Snuka. Again, connection sounded great. Incredible wrestling.
Yes.
Great to see some wrestling. Then we have Rude versus Roddy in the ring. They've obviously had the feud where Piper showed his bottom to Rick Rude.
Yes, which was great. The bottom.
Okay.
It's a good bum.
Okay.
Look, man, look. You gotta be comfortable with these things. We've got to talk about serious stuff on this podcast. Roddy Piper's bum's all right.
All right. Roddy with super fast lefts and rights. The two fight up the ramp as the
fight for your right.
Fight of the ramp
to
gorilla. So the two fight up the ramp, which leads to a double count out. Looks like a pretty rough scrap. I wasn't sure if it was real or not. If it wasn't real, the two did a bloody good job of selling it. I mean, I'm sure it wasn't. The two were very professional, but I think Roddy.
there was some animosity between the two backstage, but over history for some reason.
Right. Okay. The two did a great job, and it was a good ending actually to carry on their feud. I was fine with them getting counted out at this point. So then we had Perfect versus Snuka left, which I wouldn't have called at the start of the match, but again, the two put on a really good show. Good. Both with great work in the ring. Quick succession of near falls was really nice. We see nice cross bodies, great drop kicks, and then Perfect wins at the end with a perfect plex.
And beautiful Perfect plex.
Because the thing is, Perfect doesn't need to win all these matches when it's like a group match. His streak was
His undefeated singles streak.
Perfect plex wins a match. Great. Snuka then attacks Perfect and the Genius from outside the ring. Again, we've seen this in the last 2 sodding matches. Can we? Or last 3? No, because it didn't happen in the Hulk one. We saw it in the first 2. Let's not keep doing the same thing over and over again, because it was a great match, just ruined by a little moment at the end. I don't need to see the face win. I want to see Mr. Perfect go, I won. Snuka go, Jesus, he won. Good match. Let's just leave it at that, man.
Yeah. I mean, I think it's more to hype up the crowd and keep the crowd motivated. But I see your point.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I get that, but there's other ways to do that aren't that, and that should be someone celebrating a good win.
Yeah.
Perfect, good win. Interview with the Rude Brood next, celebrating the win. Pretty basic stuff.
Yeah.
We then see the Ultimate Warriors. So Neidhart was being mental with the Warrior here.
Yeah.
Warrior kept stroking his beard for whatever reason.
Neidhart was with his wide eyes,
Yeah. And then you got Warrior mentally going. So them two worked well together, I think.
Yeah.
What
was
Warrior...
the deal with the split between the Hart Foundation? What was it? I just thought it was odd, but I mean, it's nice to see Anvil get his spot and Hart get his spot.
Yeah, I think they were both great singles, and I think they could both carry it as singles as well. And I think putting Neidhart with this with the Ultimate Warriors wouldn't have worked actually. When you look at, because the team was actually the Ultimate Warrior, Jim Neidhart, and the Rockers. I think take out, if you'd put the Hart Foundation, Brett wasn't as over the top as Neidhart. And the Rockers did great work in this match. Carried the match. So I was perfectly happy with them being split again. So Warrior says that the bonding of these men with the darkness and the pain and brings you the power of the Ultimate Warrior. Okay.
You're not feeling it. Did you feel the power of the Warriors?
Yeah, man. I mean, it was a good promo. I'm not going to say it wasn't a good promo. He did cut good promos, Ultimate Warrior.
Do my Neidhart.
So Ultimate Warrior, Neidhart and the Rockers versus the Heenan family. Bobby Heenan.
Yeah, who was in
Bobby
this match.
Heenan, Andre the Giant, Haku, and Arn Anderson. No entrance for the Heenan family, unfortunately, which for the main event was a bit sad, even if they'd come out to a generic track.
Interesting note as well is that Tully Blanchard was supposed to be part of the Heenan family.
He was.
But he was fired.
Is that why?
The day before for failing a drug test.
Ah. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So who has the tag team titles at this point?
So I'm trying to think. But yeah, basically, the Brainbusters were still doing all right. They were still part of the Heenan family.
Yep.
But yeah.
I thought having Bobby Heenan in the match was great. And he did really well in the ring and told a lot of the story in the ring. I had a massive problem with this match though.
Was it Arn being without the brain being?
Nope. Fine with Arn. Arn was. Well,
Arn's a solid performer always. Always.
Yes. He's not a main eventer though.
But
that's part of my problem.
Yeah, it wasn't.
And I'll get to that.
Okay.
So they all start fighting before Warrior enters. Andre dominates everyone until the Warrior enters, and then he knocks Andre out of the ring. It looked like it was a nasty rope. He went over the ropes nastily, Andre. It was awkward. I actually think he hurt himself. As he was leaving, because basically he gets counted out immediately because the match had started when Ultimate Warriors gone in. So as he was walking away, you saw like a nasty rope burn on his side as well. Right, and here is my problem with the match, and it's this moment where Andre's eliminated first. My problem with it is Andre, although he was ill and he couldn't work as well as he did in the past in the ring, when Andre was on the side of the ring apron, he felt like a threat. There was a threat in the match that could come at any time and take anyone out, and that was Andre the Giant. Every Andre match was the same as that. Taking him out so early left you with a team of Haku, Arn Anderson, and Bobby Heenan.
Yeah.
Versus the Ultimate Warrior.
Yeah.
It straight away as soon as that happened.
Yeah.
The dynamic.
As much as Haku, I believe, could have.
He wasn't a main eventer.
Yeah, but he should have been.
Yeah, he could have been, but he wasn't a main eventer.
Yeah.
And it was the same with Arn Anderson. Arn Anderson probably would have been a main eventer if it was in Jim Crockett Promotions and you're looking at the Four Horsemen stuff.
Yeah.
But in the WWF at this point, he was not a main eventer. You've got rid of the main eventer from that team right at the start, and that was a big problem.
It was odd. It was an odd.
And I thought Heenan did well with the rest of the match, but that was a problem for me. And I watched another match actually with Andre and Warrior from around the same time on YouTube, and it was so awful. It was one of the worst matches I've seen ever. Yeah, Andre went very well. Warrior couldn't carry anyone. It was bad.
Warrior was never very good at carrying matches.
No.
I think he had too much of an ego, really.
Yeah, absolutely.
Nice. Like there was some really good moments. Like I say, can't say enough good things about Haku. That kick to Neidhart to win for him. In general, Jannetty and the Rockers were good too.
Yeah, there was. It was a good match, but it just felt like there was no threat. The crowd were chanting Weasel and seemed to be enjoying chanting Weasel. So you've got the comedy element, I suppose, with Heenan. Is it comedy element? It sort of is.
He is. No, he definitely is a comedy.
Yeah, it's great. Haku eliminates Anvil with the super kick to the back of the head. I thought that was really weak looking, actually.
Oh, man.
Especially for Anvil. No, Haku delivered a great super kick. I've seen Haku super kicks were epic. This one didn't do it.
It was fun.
The Rockers did some nice double team work, focusing on Haku's arm again. Nice story through the ring.
Yeah, Michaels
Rockers did some
well.
great. Yeah,
Nice
there was a nice part
finish.
where Shawn Michaels, he did a backflip of I think it was two of them, and he was caught by Jannetty, and then did the double team to Haku and Arn afterwards.
Yeah.
Really nice little spot. Really good. Really athletic.
Yeah.
Great. Bobby the Brain Heenan won't get tagged in. Jesse says it's because of his brains that he were, which I thought was great. Heenan gets a tag eventually when Jannetty's weak, comes in, punches him, walks back out and tags someone else in. Great story.
Yeah, nice
crowd
build.
carry on chanting Weasel, you know. And then Heenan attacked a weak Jannetty again and got the pin against Marty Jannetty. Good work, Heenan.
There you go.
Good on you, man.
Well done, Bobby.
Good on you.
Yeah.
Warrior gets in the ring. We only really saw a bear hug to arm. The rest of it was all a bit messy.
Yeah, I mean the usual Warrior, the Warrior's way, where he does this press slam and
I wish I saw that. I didn't.
The Warrior combo, and it's not.
I mean, it was Michaels actually that did a lot of work in the ring in this match, and the story was a lot of Bobby Heenan.
The Anderson finish, where Warrior finishes Anderson, that's standard.
I can't remember. I'll get up to it.
He does the I mean, I'm kind of fast forwarding.
That's all right.
Yeah, no. I mean, like the Michaels thing, like he did really, like I say.
He
was
did
my
great
standout performer. He was in this one.
Arn Anderson went to tag Warrior, actually. That was a good moment. So Arn Anderson's been knocked out, goes to tag Warrior and realises at the wrong time. Love little stuff like that. And he ends up with a headbutt from Warrior. A really nice high cross body from Michaels with a push off from Warrior, gets a pin against Haku. Really nice. Nice to see Warrior with a little bit of involvement in that as well.
Yeah.
Looks like Heenan is climbing the turnbuckle to drop to Michaels, who is on the outside. This was a great moment. So Michaels is laying on the ground outside. Heenan goes to climb the turnbuckle, and the crowd start cheering because they're like, Heenan's going to jump off the second rope. No, Heenan's going to jump off the top rope. He went to the top rope, and then he just climbed down the other side. Just to get away from Michaels. Great. I was wetting myself watching it. A really fast Anderson drop gets out Michaels, leaving the Warrior with Arn and Heenan. How can Warrior beat Arn Anderson and Heenan? Well, of course he was. He could have beat all three. Yeah. Warrior did the press slam and splash on Anderson. That's what you're talking about. Yeah. Poor Heenan was left by himself and Warrior.
This was a good. This is a standout wrestling moment. People remember this.
Part of the problem was like Heenan was struggling with his neck and stuff from WrestleMania 2, and when I saw that he was going to have to take some bumps from Warrior, I was like, oh no, Warrior wasn't the safest worker.
No, he was not.
He wasn't stiff, he was just a bit sloppy at times. So Heenan gets driven into the turnbuckles, flips over the top rope, takes a nasty looking shoulder tackle at one point.
That shoulder tackle.
Yeah.
Like Cena does all right with it, but the Warrior was just like, it's very sloppy.
It looked nasty sloppy on Heenan.
Cena's
so he's laying on his front. He takes the big splash on his front again. I think one of the WrestleManias we talked about, Honky Tonk Man refusing to take the splash on the back. Yeah, I think probably the same with Heenan here. He knew that he needed control of it, and he wasn't always in the ring. But he did great. He was the star of the match.
Yeah,
and maybe Shawn Michaels. Who was Shawn Michaels? One of the Rockers. Yeah, as Warrior leaves, Warrior's running out. Heenan's already gone. He's done a celebration. He clotheslines Heenan as he walks by. Man, Heenan.
Nice, man.
What a legend. What a legend for taking all them bumps, man, when he didn't need to.
Yeah, bless him.
A good pay-per-view overall.
Bobby the Brain Heenan's is probably a less stiff worker than Randy Orton.
Probably, yeah. What I loved about this pay-per-view, and I've said it a few times, was the talent being spread out.
Best one.
Great.
One
you
of the best
don't see cards as good as that at Survivor Series in these years, I'd say. Yeah. I thought it was really
one of the best ones we've seen.
Yes. Best match?
I
think it's a tough one, actually. It's between two for me.
I'd go for... it's an interesting one. The Hulkamanics one.
Yeah, I thought
what?
That was good.
That was a good team.
I thought it wasn't just the Hulk thing. Thank God Zeus was out straight away. DiBiase in that match did a cracking job, and there was a lot of story going on to the match.
Yeah, man.
But the other match that is contender for it is the match with Roddy Piper and
good
Superfly.
Good shout.
Ended
really well.
It ended really well. The reason I wouldn't give it to him is because the Bushwhackers and the Rougeaus being there. I wish there wasn't. Them four, when they were in the ring, there was some cracking work done.
Kind of like fodder, I thought, for early eliminations, which they have every year.
Yeah. So special mention to them guys. How many stars are you giving this pay-per-view?
3.
3?
3 stars?
Yeah, I'm going to go 3.5. I thought it was a damn good show. I enjoyed watching it.
Good. Good.
And that's the last pay-per-view of the 80s that we're going to be covering. Wow. We are out of the 80s. We are moving into the future. The 90s.
What is this wonderful world we're about to encounter?
People will be using skateboarding hoverboards by the end of this.
Yeah.
So... I've enjoyed the 80s. I've enjoyed watching it back. I think we're going to do a couple...
I'm more excited about the future. I'm excited about the 90s.
Man. Some good stuff coming up.
Good
stuff coming up. I think we talked briefly about it. I think we're going to do a couple of top 10s. Don't expect them all the time, but a couple of top 10s looking at, like, perhaps top 10 wrestlers from sort of the 85 to the 89, and sort of culminate in our opinions of the wrestlers. And I will say that there will be opinions that are based on pay-per-views as opposed to the entire thing.
On the whole,
so I think that'll be good fun to do, and something that you guys would enjoy. Let us know if you would enjoy that, and give us some other ideas. And that's it for this episode. Close us out, baby.
Alrighty then. Thank you very much for watching. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment on all of our social media links. We really appreciate your support. Do support us. We are lonely without you. Lonely, lonely, lonely Dom, and lonely, lonely, lonely Anthony. In fact, only Virgil's probably lonelier than we are without you. So thank you so much for watching. We appreciate it. Goodbye. And also, keep it gay.